Welcome to the Moose Fit Method, the podcast where we train with purpose, live with intention, and pursue strength that lasts. I'm your host, Kirk Moose, and this show is for anyone, especially those of us who know it's time to take back our health, our clarity, and our faith. Here at Moose Fit, we believe fitness isn't just about muscles and micros, it's about becoming whole, stronger in body, sharper in mind, and deeply rooted in spirit. Ready to shake up the conversation? Let's get started. Welcome back to the show. Today we're diving deep into a topic that's fundamental for athletes. However, whether you're training intensively day in or day out, or just trying to start your fitness journey, while we often talk about our workout itself, the reps, the weight, the speed, what happens in between the sessions is just as critical. And we're going to talk today not about exercise, but today's episode is entirely focused on nutrition, why it matters so profoundly for our athletic performance. I know it's a topic that can get quite heavy with technical terms, confusing advice, but the goal here isn't to create a dieting plan, but rather for us to understand how proper nutrition directly impacts your ability to train harder, recover faster, stay healthy, and ultimately perform better. And let's be clear, we're talking about genuine athletic performance here, like running faster, lifting heavier, jumping higher, or having better endurance. Why should you care about nutrition beyond just feeling healthy? Let's go ahead and break it down. First, the most obvious reason, fuel. Your muscles are essentially engines that burn fuel to produce energy. What happens without the right kind of fuel? Your food, right? You hit a wall. Your performance, it drops off dramatically. Let's think of a race car. If you put in regular unleaded fuel in that race car and you're trying to drive it and, the Indianapolis 500, it's never going to work out. You need high octane fuel. You need high performance grade fuel for that machine to work optimally. And in the same way, when you are not putting in the right fuel into your system, you're setting your body up for failure to not be able to complete the race that you're putting it in at its optimal performance. So now that we're done with the example of the car, think of your body like it's in an endurance race where athletes rely on stored energy, glycogen. After depleting readily available carbohydrates, they've gamed out, you could say. But without refueling properly during or after the event, they simply can't recover and perform optimally. Now, crucially, the timing of this fuel is critical. Eating a massive pizza before bed won't help you recover from a brutal AMRAP session at 4 a.m. You need to consume some major carbohydrates and protein relatively soon after this intense exercise, really probably within about an hour to 2 hours. Now, why protein? Besides being an essential element for repairing your muscles and growth, protein also contributes to appetite regulation. It makes you feel fuller longer, which is a huge benefit if your goal is to maintain or potentially even optimize your body composition without all those hunger pains. It turns eating into a tool, not just a fuel. I guess you could almost say it's almost like a food hack 101. Now let's go beyond just the immediate energy. Good nutrition doesn't stop when the workout is over. It impacts your training capacity over time. Now, recovery, this is where nutrition shines in an even deeper way than just fueling. Muscle protein synthesis, also known as RPS, intense exercise actually breaks down muscle fibers, right? Now, During these rest periods, your body repairs them and often builds them stronger. That's supercompensation. Protein intake provides the amino acids necessary to kickstart these repair processes, making it more efficient and potentially allowing you to train again sooner. Eating carbs without protein might not trigger the same optimal MPS signals. When we look at that, we have to consider the fact that good nutrition supports reducing inflammation, which is a natural response to exercise stress. Now, let's talk about our body composition, right? Nutrition helps manage fat stores. Fat may not be bad per se, but having excess can impact running economy or cycle power to weight ratio. Essentially, if performance goals involve speed events, a balanced approach aiming for a lean muscle mass and potentially lower fat stores, always without being underweight, enhances athletic performance. What you eat will directly affect even the hormone levels that you have in your body, like insulin and glycogen. Insulin helps to shuttle nutrients, including our carbs, into our cells. This is important post-workout for refueling the glycogen stores within our bodies. Uncontrolled blood sugar can also lead to energy crashes and sluggish recovery. Maintaining stable blood sugar also influences appetite control, potentially impacting performance goals by making it harder to eat optimally. Let me paint you a picture here. Imagine two athletes both doing the same workout. Athlete A, he refuels properly with carbs and proteins soon after he works out, right? Gains strength, recovers faster due to balanced nutrition, potentially aiding the repair signals, getting all those muscles back up and strong quicker. Stable blood sugar means sustained energy levels later in the day or the next workout. Athlete B skips a key meal, relies on junk food before another session, runs out of gas during the workout, recovered very little, leading to more fatigue for the next training session or competition. Now, the difference isn't just about feeling better. It's concrete performance. What we do during the off time when no one sees directly affects the way that we're going to be able to perform in the gym, during a competition, or in our day-to-day life. Just as critical, but often overlooked in these nutrition talks is hydration. It's separate but vitally important. Even mild dehydration, losing even 1 to 2% of your body weight through sweat, can negatively affect cognitive functions, your perception, your exertion, endurance performance like running, strength output even when you're in the gym or when you're trying to do something that requires a lot of power. It can also impact your core body temperature regulation, which could lead to overheating. We sweat salty stuff. Electrolytes are lost too. So replacing the fluids and also the nutrients that are involved day in and day out is paramount. Okay, let's address complexity. I know this is where it sounds like we're getting very important, right? But isn't nutrition super complicated? Doesn't everyone have different macros? You know, that's a fair point. But here's the key. There's no magic formula for everyone. The principles all still remain, though. First of all, we need to prioritize whole foods. We need to aim for your nutrition density. That means fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains. They provide not just micronutrients, but micronutrients with vitamins and minerals and fiber, which aids in recovery, reduces inflammation, and supports good gut health, and many other things. Now, consistency, it matters more than perfection. Focus on overall dietary patterns rather than obsessing over every single gram. The fuel that you put in, your body will adapt and recover better with regular balanced eating than perfect execution on training days with binging the next day. Now, yes, people are all different. Factors like body size, training intensity, volume, sweat rate, electrolytes, all of these individual metabolisms and goals do influence what's optimal within the principles. However, remember, the fundamentals are what we need to focus on. The basic principles are what's going to keep you strong. So the next time you're tracking your training load or time to failure in your workout, think about what if within your nutrition. Push hard, yes, but fuel smarter. Remember, it is not about strict diets that restrict you. Think of it as optimizing the tools within your body to perform at its peak. Nutrition isn't just fuel. It's a recovery mechanism, hormonal balancing system, and key variable in your overall training strategy. It might seem tedious or overly detailed or complicated to the physical aspects of training, but without it, you're leaving significant performance potentials on the table. It's almost like you're taking things and just throwing them off to the side. Now, hey, what are your thoughts? Has anyone tried implementing better nutrition timing or principles in their training and noticed a difference? Or do you have any questions? Write into us. Let us know what's going on. Now let's go ahead and go to our spiritual reflection. In Genesis 1:28-30, it says, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in numbers, and fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and over every creature that moves on the ground. And the Lord took and put man in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. The maintain and subdue and rule implies the role as a caretaker, not a conqueror. This stewardship involves maintaining creation, including our physical environment, relationships, and even our own bodies. The work described is not merely laborious toil, but rather a calling to care and develop for God's handiwork. Our bodies are designed to move and be active. Regular exercise is vital for maintaining health, and it strengthens muscles, enhances cardiovascular function, and supports good mental well-being. Regarding our mental work, stewardship also involves intellectual engagement, creativity, problem-solving, pursuits that stimulate our mind, like learning new skills or engaging in meaningful hobbies. The rhythm of work and rest is essential for holistic health. God modeled this pattern by ceasing from all work on the seventh day. He set an eternal precedent. Resting replenishes both the body and the soul. Adequate sleep repairs cellular damage, boosts immune function, and promotes mental clarity. Without it, we're more prone to illness, fatigue, and emotional instability. Regularly pausing to worship, pray, and simply reflecting on God's goodness can rejuvenate our spirits, fostering resilience against stress and burnout. We were created for community. We can see that easily in Genesis 2:18, where he decided to create a companion for Adam, right? Healthy relationships with God, others, and ourselves are cornerstones for a good well-being. Humanity was created for community. Healthy relationships with God and others are a cornerstone for a good mental well-being. Strong social bonds can mitigate the risk associated with many diseases, reducing stress hormones and promoting good health. Taking care of ourselves is not selfish, but essential for thriving. Recognizing our inherent worth as God's beloved children empowers us to care for ourselves properly, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, in today's fast-paced world, we often struggle with aligning this biblical blueprint, yet understanding these truths can guide us back to a healthier, more purposeful experience. Remember, prioritize rest and self-care. Manage mindfully your work, balancing productivity and creativity. Foster deep relationships rooted in love and support. Nurture gratitude for God's provision, knowing we are part of something far greater than ourselves. Ultimately, our original design reflects God's loving intent to see us flourish physically, mentally, and spiritually. By embracing these truths, we live more fully in harmony with His will, echoing his ideas throughout all of our life stages. Well, that wraps up this deep dive into the world of athletic nutrition. Keep training smart and eating intentionally. Thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time, stay strong.